So what we're going to do, we're just going to start with singing. We'll start with singing Elohai Neshama. It was lovely to me that Alan Rennis actually spoke about this earlier. And it's, for me, really where I begin with myself and in prepping for the high holidays around my own neshama, and also where I'd like to begin with the community to get rooted in the place of our holy soul that is good and worthy just as it is. And from that place then to work on what we need to work on, but to root it first in holding the worthy, whole, complete pureness of our souls. So I know you all know the words, so when you hear...
Should we start with words or lai lai?
Let's start lai lai.
Okay.
I always like to start lai lai. Summer is such an interesting time as a rabbi, because there's a space for things to get a little quieter, and yet looming is the place that we're supposed to be able to get up and make an offering. So for me, it's usually around July that I start to feel a sort of like it's starting to come up, like the presence coming up behind me, starting to occupy my body. And then by August, I have really begun a practice of allowing really Elul to come a month early. And so that when Elul arrives and I am moving my congregation and my community, that I want to have already done that work for myself. So I have really shifted a practice of doing, I call it Elul, or really from the 3 weeks, right, from the 17th of Tammuz through Tisha B'Av, that I really want to use that time for my own spiritual work, that to really do the accounting of my soul, that I want to do. And then I see that as the holidays arrive, I can be open in a place of receiving what I can receive without having a sense of tension around the expectations for my own spiritual work. So I've really moved into doing that work a month or 6 weeks or 9 weeks, or whatever it is ahead, so that I can be in a place of offering to the community. And one of the primary practices that I do have, and that that's why it was important that we were here together, is that we have really developed a way, Sally and Ari, and the other person I just want to say who's not here is David Swirsky, who's often during the weeks traveling to perform with Moshav and then makes it back on Shabbos to be able to be here, is that we are developing this and are in the process of doing this Nefesh community in which the music is central to what we're doing, and the songwriting. So we're going to share a little bit about what that spiritual practice of creating music is together. But before we do, I would love if any of you have anything to offer about what your own spiritual preparation looks like leading up to the high holidays, and what you find to be a practice or a way in that allows you to do your own work and also be ready to be a conduit vessel for the others in the community. Any practices to share? Yeah.
I have to say, I'm already retired. This conference every year, this holiday seminar with colleagues, has been a big part of my preparation. It's just lovely to be circled by serious Jews who are seriously thinking about what this means, and seriously thinking about how we can fit into the commemoration of the birthday of the world, beginning of a new year, a reenactment of our charter as Jews. I don't know. That's one of my practices that I almost never miss.
Thank you. This conference. Thank you.
I've been reading the new prayer book, the Mishkan HaNefesh, and there are some lovely meditations in there and some lovely study sheets. And for me, that's the real value of that prayer book.
Whose prayer book is it?
It's the New Reform prayer book for the Days of Awe, Mishkan HaNefesh, for both Rosh Hashanah and for Yom Kippur. And I've read through the whole prayer book several times. I think maybe it's a lot for people. I think it's good to take different prayers or different portions from it. It's pretty deep.
It's very big, yeah.
But I found that that's useful, and then I read a lot. I'm trying to read different books that will inspire me so that I can, inspire other people. So reading.
So I'm a retired professor, and one of the really beautiful things that I find myself, that I am doing, that I've undertaken, that for me has become a very powerful spiritual process in preparation for the High Holy Days, is putting together a pamphlet of readings for the library minion that I go to. And the purpose of it is to help people go more deeply into prayers, to think more deeply about certain issues, but what happens is I'm doing the choosing. And so I'm going through book after book, starting from, the Gemara, Rosh Hashanah, to poetry books that I love, reaching out to people that whose writings I value. But as I'm reading through them, I'm experiencing the process that I'm hoping the person will go through when they sit with this reader. And it has turned into a really powerful kind of meditative spiritual experience for me in doing this. Because it's so eclectic, it's drawing on so many different sources. So I feel really blessed to have undertaken this.
And if we send you an email, can we get a copy of your reader?
Oh, well, why not? But I attribute material. I mean, I give everybody the attribution, but I have not looked for rights or
Yes,
for
we won't
reprint.
share
So
it with anyone
we have to,
Other practices, preparation, yeah.
A few things. I feel like Rosh Hashanah starts for me on Erev Tisha B'Av. It's a perfectly good way to ruin a summer. No, it's like it jars you out of the sort of the warmth and headiness of the summer, and by Mincha the following day, I'm already starting to say Shana Tova to people because it's only 7 weeks between Tisha B'Av, and if we do 7 weeks between Pesach and Shavuos, it's only 7 weeks between Tisha B'Av and Rosh Hashanah. And then the other one, like Miriam, I'm responsible for putting together the poetry meditations that we give to our entire community. So I've been working on an entire on that and an entire Elul initiative for the first time this year, and I've been working on it for 6 months already. So it's, I don't know if high holidays have ever left me this year, but in terms of my spiritual, one thing I wanted to bring up is that the morning of Rosh Hashanah and the morning of Yom Kippur, I meet with the Chazan about 20 minutes before Shul starts, and we daven together in my office for 20 minutes before we go out to do exactly what we're being talking about, right? So that I think we are at our best when we bring our most authentic selves to the table. And once you're in the space, once you're in a space and you're running a service for 1,000 people, you're more like a conductor of a symphony than you are sort of in that. And so you have to set your mind right beforehand. So that's one of these things.
Yes.
Using all of these and also what Alan was talking about, I think there is a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual dimension that you're creating. And so, like, I love what everybody has said because I think that they're all dimensions of what we want to give. Another one that I think all of the above, but thank you for the reminders. But something very physical, I go to mikveh every year before the high holidays. And it's really, sometimes it's more transformational than others, but I have to say that, and I do a lot of kibbutz adut and just writing to myself, to what is, to try to clear away. But that action or actually stepping out into the field is also very helpful, and just wanted to.
Beautiful. Thank you. It's beautiful. It's a personal moment. So I value all of these things. One of the things that I was hearing and what you both were saying, maybe in this other project too, is that there can be a way that we can use the preparation for our communities, like putting together the reader or the materials, also to be driven by what we're needing that year, right? To know that we can bring ourselves forward in that. And the additional pieces is, it can't only all be about what we're offering in the community. We also need mikvah, davening on our own. That's important too, because I do think that it can get to be, I'll just do whatever I need to do for myself along with the community, and knowing that there is the additional piece. And I always say, we get together before every service we do. This Nefesh service, we're doing 2 Shabbatot a month right now, and then we'll do a full set of high holiday services this year for the first time. We did some last year, but this year we're doing a full set at Wilshire during the high holidays. So yes, that means I have to run back and forth between the sanctuary and the other Pines Auditorium, which is an interesting spiritual place to go from faith across the rooms, running across, and then the preschool service, and then back, and then lots of actual physicality. Good thing that I like to run to prepare for the high holidays, because I've been doing a lot of running. But that time that we have together is really the highlight of my weeks. When all of you arrive, we cram into my office, and we prepare together. That's what you were sharing, yes.
For those of us who don't know, who comes to the Nefesh service as opposed to other services?
Yeah, so the Nefesh service is, anyone who feels moved to come, and that has been an outreach service to outreach to folks around the synagogue who had not before been part of it, and give an offering. For folks who know the work I do, I tend to draw on people who don't assume that they would ever be in a synagogue, so it's that group. And then as it's grown, it's been like, a year and a half, that it's, or almost 2 maybe, although it's had different incarnations, so maybe a full year of what we're doing now. Also folks who self-select as this is what they want, who've been longtime temple members, are starting to come more and more. So it started out as outreach, and now you can't say that anymore. Now it's communal. So here's a chance. So just take this in, and we can do this together. Hi, Nancy. So one of the things we do together in creating is we use some chant, and we also look at the insides of the prayers and open them up and rely on the artistry and beauty of Sally and Devin and Ari's songwriting to open up prayers and give people the way in. So here is a Michamocha, Sally and Devin.
Courage, you're the only one. Courage, walking in the sun. Sorry. I wrote it, but I can't remember. All right. Let me see. Courage, you're the only one.
So I was thinking about how Alan Morenis said how much he hates responsive reading, kind of repeatedly this morning. He shared with us. I think for all of us, there's maybe a part of a service that's a little challenging. I love how he shared that part that was challenging for him. And Ari found that he had a challenging part of the service and shared, I don't like how this normally goes. And so sat with it, right? You want to say it?
Sure. So what we do in Nefesh typically is for the Shema, we do one word for one breath. And I loved how we create as the community, the congregation, the energy. And because all of our voices resonate, we're typically in a more intimate space. And we kind of, I felt very lifted at that moment. And when the Shema ended, when we finished it together, it was still resonating. But then we dipped right into the Ve'ahavta that everyone kind of knows, the trope Ve'ahavta, and everyone kind of turned on their muscle memory. And I felt like that ball of energy we just created just kind of dropped, and everyone just kind of lost what we had just created because they just flipped into what they knew, and I think the intention was lost. So I wanted to kind of maintain that intention, and so I wrote kind of a Ve'ahavta that kind of transitioned. I felt a little bit stronger from what we had created with the Shema into a Ve'ahavta.
So now Ari comes in that moment and sings us, and then we do chant, and we start with whispering the Ve'ahavta, and then we sort of slowly build it up, so that the chant does feel more internal, but in the trope.
So just the order again, Susan, it would go the Shema, one breath, then Ari's chant, then you would begin to do the traditional trope.
Yeah, and sometimes, and we've also done it the other way. I mean, this is a new piece, he's just done this, so we've been experimenting with it, but sometimes we'll start whispering the Ve'ahavta and then have Ari do this. But yeah.
I agree, I'm resonating.
So if you imagine kind of, right after the Shema.
There's a prolonged silence after the long Shema.
Take these words and remember. Speak these words when you need some peace. Hold these words in your heart forever, and they will always be right here when you need. Take these words and remember. Speak these words when you need some peace. Hold these words in your heart forever, and they will always be right here when you need.
I feel like you have it, you can sing it.
Take these words and remember.
Speak these words when you need some peace.
Speak these words
grounds for silence. And you use it. That's not easy for most of us. How did you cultivate that?
I think it's a good question. I mean, I think that I'm finally getting to do in my life that which has always been my sort of natural timing. Right, I was the kid who was like left to slowly eat while everybody ate fast and cleared the play table, and I was like still eating. And I've definitely cultivated. I have a long-term meditation practice, and the work I did. I was a professional dancer before I became a rabbi, and the work in the dance world that I did was also in the world of somatics and the world of, if this means anything to people, body-mind centering and Laban movement analysis, and sort of excavating all of the inner connections in our bodies and on our movement and developmental movement, baby movement up to walking, that allow us to sort of have integrated mind, body, spirit work. That's why when people are like, oh, you went from being a dancer to being a rabbi, like, that seems like a big jump. And I say, really, it makes perfect sense. But that work about doing mind, body, soul integration, I think, was part of, and I do think that that when people are coming into a service, they're especially, transitioning on a Friday, getting to synagogue, and then needing to make that change into Shabbos consciousness, I think really does take opening up some space to be quiet. I don't want to. I invite you all to come to a Nefesh service, and Nancy can attest to this. It is not all. I mean, it's also really up. I mean, I sort of feel like for myself, and I think what we do is a blend between contemplative and ecstatic practice. So it's both. There's also a lot of upbeat, jumping up and down, like not literally, although some people do. But it's right, would you say it's also a lot of energy? It's a high and open.
This is a Friday night service or a Shabbat morning
It's a
service?
Friday night service on the first and third Fridays. Yeah, at Wilshire, yeah.
But for the holidays, it's all the services.
It's going to be all the services. Yep, all the services this year. We have, where are we on time? We have one more.
11:44.
And what time do we have until? Okay, we're going to keep going because we have more to do.
55.
Okay, excellent.
You have 10 minutes.
I appreciate the question, but yeah, certainly I think having a meditation practice for many years definitely opens up some room and quiet. Yeah.
Would you say that having a bunch of children also
Yeah,
makes
it
you
helps.
appreciate silence when you have the chance?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's also a place that also, I mean, you're about to be there, right? That newborn place where there is so much beautiful, nonverbal, just being with. I believe you're doing that with two beings, yes?
Yes.
There's two in there?
Two baby and a big sister. A big sister, too.
I have my mentor here.
No, twins too, yeah. Double twins, you both are having that twin space. But a lot of that is that space, that nonverbal, just being with. I think it's a good question though, I mean, in terms of being a mother and preparing for the high holidays, being a father and preparing for the high holidays. Is there anything around that you want to offer? Yeah.
Rabbi Jack Reamer, years ago, had a cartoon that I keep right in front of me on high holidays. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this, but it's a rabbi and it says preparing for the high holidays, and his children are lying on the floor and he's walking over them as he's reading the book. And I thought, that's one for the ages, man. So I'm just passing it on.
Any thought on that? No, just.
I'm figuring out as I go along. I don't have any real wisdom yet. Talk to me in a few years. I was just thinking musically that there are so many kid songs that are so repetitive
which makes them very easy to remember or insert. But it reminds me a lot of just taking one line of any piece of liturgy and just saying it over and over and over again. And so using that as a focal point, whether it's Old MacDonald or Moshe Ani, it just feels like it's the same thing, it's the same melody. So what am I trying to drive home?
Old MacDonald and a lot of chickens. So there's one last piece we wanted to share, which is that another part of our practice, creating services and creating teachings, is so what we've shared is a small part of the liturgical piece. I think some of you know that David grew up on the Karl Bach Moshav, so a lot of the liturgical music we do is Karl Bach music. And the other piece to share is that as I work on a teaching for a Shabbat or for the high holidays, that's also in conversation with the musicians. And we're looking for a song from anywhere that we can source it in secular culture that works with the teaching, and so sometimes there's a song before and a song after. I'm saying teaching intentionally, but the sermon, so that there's a landing place musically before and after. And also sometimes it's that sense that our secular music, like just as Alan Rennes was saying, where is the place to practice Musar? Starbucks, everywhere. That our culture has ways that we can draw up spiritual teachings that we need that are all around us. So this, and because we one of the things to say is that my husband is a singer-songwriter. That's partly why being a part of integrating spiritual practice with singer-songwriter-ness makes sense to me. But we also have lots of friends who write beautiful music. And this song is by the wonderful Deb Talon, who Sally and I both know. It's a beautiful song for this time of year, for looking at Yamim Noraim and all the work that we are going to be doing. So this is Forgiven, Forgiven.
You worry on hurting anybody. You worry on small comfort. One of us seems not to tremble. You leave a rift inside me every day, and then you choose to stay. I walk the edges, push it wider. You are forgiven. I open all my doors. You are forgiven. That's what a heart is for. I am no martyr. You give me reason. And I try harder than wait for a warmer season. You are forgiven. I hear a soft noise like a sigh. It's singing like a lullaby. Is it my heart? Is it this wind that flows through where you held me closer? Where we whispered, this is true. You are forgiven. I open all my doors. You are forgiven. It's what a heart is for. I am no martyr. You give me reason. I try harder than wait for a warmer season. Meanwhile, you are forgiven.
Beautiful. Thank you both. So beautiful.
I've never heard a song that had the word martyr. Rhyme it with harder.
You're pretty good.
Do you have that song available to us?
That song is an artist named Deb Tell, and I mean, you can
totally
she's beautiful, and yes, it's online.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
What is the title? You are forgiven.
For just forgiven.
Just forgiven.
Just plain
Forgiven.
forgiven.
Dead time. Yeah. Well, thank you all.